Part 4, integration. In this part, we're going to be talking about relevant biblical principles and truth, possible implications, and takeaways. The first part, biblical principles and truth. For this part, I want to cover 3 verses. The first one being Proverbs 16:7. When the Lord takes pleasure in anyone's way, he causes their enemies to make peace with them. In this verse, we find a conditional phrase with results. When the Lord takes pleasure in anyone's way, then he will cause them to have peace with their enemies. Verse 2, Proverbs 24:17. Do not gloat when your enemy falls, when they stumble. Do not let your heart rejoice. In this verse, we find a command, do not, and it's actually said twice. And this verse, I feel, can be really applicable to even sometimes how we see people of different political parties in times of election. If the person that we voted for wins, then we might be tempted to gloat to the people who their nominee did not win. But this verse tells us, do not gloat and do not let your heart rejoice. That is really convicting and causes us to really check our heart, especially when in communication with others. And verse 3 is Luke 6:27 through 30. But to you who are listening, I say, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you. If anyone slaps you on one cheek, then turn to them the other also. If someone takes your coat, then do not withhold your shirt from them. Give to everyone who asks you, and if anyone takes what belongs to you, then do not give it back. This is such a big verse, and let's break it down. In this verse, there are several commands. Love, do good, bless, pray, and give. These things can seem so easy and natural when it's comfortable for us or when we have feelings of love for somebody. We want to pray for them, to give, to bless, to do good to them. But what about for our enemies, or in this case, people of different political views? Do we want to give to them? Do we want to do good and bless and pray and love them? This can be really challenging sometimes. Politics, although is not the same as personal relationships necessarily, they have a way of battling sometimes. And I think this verse reminds us we're all still human and we're called to love one another, even when we have different views. And for the parts that are underlined, who are we to do these things for? Your enemies, those who hate you, curse you, mistreat you, and ask of what you have. Oof, this just takes it one step further. We're not just supposed to love people who have different views from us, but people who hate us, people who are considered our enemies and mistreat us and even curse us and who take what we have or are asking of things that are essential to us. But what does the Lord call us to do? Give it anyway and love them. If they hurt us, turn to them the other cheek also. This is a huge challenge for us, especially in our culture where political differences cause relational divides. I've seen it happen in families, friendships, in coworkers. It can get very intense, but this just reminds us we can't decide what other people choose to support or value, but we get to decide how we respond and how we treat them. And often that speaks so much louder than any political argument will. What are the possible implications of this? If our political leaders can politely agree to disagree, continue to show respect, create and maintain healthy boundaries between politics and personal relationships, aim for unity rather than uniformity, can have a trickle-down effect to those who look up to them. Oftentimes, people look up to their political leaders for guidance and how to treat people with different views. And in this relationship between Joe Biden and John McCain, two opposing sides politically, they were a great example of people who were friends in their personal lives, but they were able to politely agree to disagree. They didn't compromise their values, but they had a boundary between personal and political. And that is a huge inspiration to the rest of our culture. We need to be able to agree to disagree, do so respectfully, but still stand up for what we believe in. We shouldn't have to feel like we have to compromise our values just for the sake of making everybody happy. And takeaways. Political parties have major differences, but they also have commonalities. And this I'll refer to like a spectrum of political parties. There's the far right and the far left, and there's the middle. But it's not just those three options. It's a wide variety in between. And just because you identify more closely with one party doesn't mean you support every single thing that that party does. And it doesn't mean you don't support everything the other party does. So we have to realize there is a mesh of values and beliefs and morals within that spectrum of the political party stances. And with that, we should be unified, not uniform. And what I mean by that is we need to be able to work together without feeling like we all have to be the same. We should not assume someone supports all aspects of a political party just because they identify more closely with that. I kind of already went over that. We're all human. Learn from each other's different perspectives. We need each other. We all value different things or have different stances, but we need to be able to listen to why people have those different stances, because I mean, we need to learn from each other. We have to stand united, not uniform. And one of the best ways to do that is be open to learning from different views. Take time to identify the needs and wants of the people with different views than you. That's kind of the same idea. Politics isn't everything. To this, I just say, we need to remember that it is so simple, but politics is not everything. And it's okay to respectfully disagree. We shouldn't feel bad just because we have conflicting views. With that, I think that wraps up our presentation. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for listening. Our whole group really enjoyed putting this together, and I'll go over references. Here are a couple great articles and or videos that we used in our research as well as our textbook. So I think that is all. Thank you so much.